Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Barrington Robinson and friends. Seen on the internet, 24 hours, 7 days a week. We have a very interesting show for our millions of viewers worldwide. But first, let me introduce our very talented co-host, Miss Jackie Williams.
Hello, everyone.
And Mr. Henry
Hi,
Henry.
Ron.
Hi. Let's talk about Flint, Michigan. Flint on the rise. A number of wonderful things are happening to Flint. Jackie, why don't you let our viewers know what's really going on in Flint, Michigan?
This is good news because we hear so much negativity about Flint, and a lot of people ask why people are still in Flint, because I just need everybody to know, take notice and say, Jackie told you. There is a lot going on in Flint. You might not be aware of everything, but I would suggest that you get connected. City's downtown is just booming. If you haven't been to the farmers market, they're expanding and they're doing great things there. And there's 32 new businesses that have come into the city of Flint. A lot of places are relocating downtown city of Flint. We have a new hotel upcoming. Details will be coming shortly with that. Also, Elon Musk, the millionaire, contacted Mayor Weaver, and they're going to do a water filtration system for all the schools, Flint schools, and those systems are very expensive, and he is footing that cost, so that coordination will come from the two of them. So we appreciate all that they're doing. Also, Judge Mathis is bringing semi trucks, and that details to come further as well. Aretha Franklin challenged him prior to her passing away to stay on top of the Flint water crisis, and I just thank Judge Mathis for being vigilant and doing that. So he's putting together a major distribution by coordinating a lot of semi trucks. Also in the housing, they're tearing down a lot of houses to incorporate new places of development, which is good because that means there is new life in the air. So downtown, where the YWCA was formerly sited, they're putting 92 units apartments there, and 48 will be affordable housing. So when you ask what is affordable housing, that's where they're based on your income, so it's affordable for Americans, because the law says that we have every right to live among all age groups, all values. So you don't have to just live in a poor neighborhood. You have every right to live among the greatest. So also on the north side of Flint, there's going to be 62 units, and it's going to be 11 buildings. Now in this construction, there's also going to be some houses constructed too, some new houses. So that's good news. And the first project is estimated at approximately about 19.6 million. The second project is about 16.9 million. And then the last one is the former Coolidge Elementary, and I'm not familiar with Coolidge Elementary location, but these are going to be called Coolidge Park Apartments, and there's going to be 54 of those, and that's for $14.7 million. So what does that say? There's jobs. Because in order for all of this construction to go on, they're going to need clerical, they're going to need project managers, they're going to need roofers, they're going to need suppliers, they're going to have lunch. So you think about how it affects us in a mighty way.
That's great news for Flint, because Flint has been underutilized for a number of years. And Flint, in fact, I've said this many times, is my adopted city. I worked in and out of Flint for a number of years, wrote articles for the Flint Choir newspaper with Ron Parker, delivered papers, worked with the Flint branch at NAACP, and met a lot of wonderful people here in Flint. We also have, in addition to those good things, this show represents it's called Feed a Family program, where we help support in many ways the North End Soup Kitchen. So, but those are small things, but needed here in the city of Flint. In addition to these wonderful things that Jackie has mentioned, also too, Jackie, you were while we were on break, you were talking about ages 18 to 49 without children, new requirements. Could you tell our viewing audience about those?
Before I go there, let's go to another production because before I get you to that, before we go there, let's talk about the MTA has just purchased a formal Baker College right there on Dora Highway at the intersection of 69 and Lapeer Road.
And Dora Highway.
They're getting ready to change that into the wellness program. So you asked me, what is the wellness program in case you're not connected? The wellness program is transportation to all appointments, eye appointments, doctor appointments, any type, grocery store appointments, any kind of appointments that will help your well-being. This transportation is available. Please utilize these services. When we don't utilize the services, it tells them that we're not needing these services and they're quickly cut. So we want to make sure we support MTA. We thank MTA for all you're doing and continue to wrap us as, transportation, continue to provide our needs. Now, on that note, as of October 1st, the state of Michigan has moved to give a new requirement for all 18 to 49-year-olds that do not have school-aged children. You are required to either volunteer for 20 hours, to work for 20 hours, or take some type of training for 20 hours in order to continue to receive any type of assistance. And this is not a black eye. This is an opportunity. Look at it as an opportunity because we need volunteers all over. We need volunteers in the nursing homes to help with people that don't have families. We need volunteers to help kids cross the street going to school that are not being monitored properly. We need help in a lot of places. Hospitals need help. So this is a place where, a time where you can actually give of yourself for all the assistance you received, and then this is a chance for us to rebuild. So you can take this time to do a self-evaluation and also take opportunities of being able to add more skills to your resume at this time.
Mr. Hatter.
Thank you, Jackie, for that update. I think that bodes well for the seer and for the city and Mayor Weaver and her staff, because there was a lot of gloom and doom in this city. And we were focusing so much on the water issue, we weren't getting things done in the other part of Mayor Weaver's obligations, and that is to get individuals to reinvest in the city of Flint. General Motors had for years, and I am not criticizing General Motors. That's where I worked. That's the company I love. That's where I get my retirement from. But at the same time, in those days, they disinvested in the city of Flint. If you remember, back in the 50s, they moved to Swartz Creek. They moved to Mount Morris. And yet the city was a core of all industrial activity for years. And they moved to Grand Blanc and stuff like that. They were disinvesting in the city of Flint. And we may have helped that to happen. Maybe the government wasn't friendly to them and didn't do enough discussions with them about maintaining their presence in the city of Flint. So obviously we lost a lot. And when they decided to leave Flint altogether, except 6,000 people who live, 57 now, 100, who yet live in a community that works for General Motors, we lost a lot. We lost 70,000 people over the last 40 years from General Motors Corporation. Had the highest income per capita in the world at one time. And it was good, as you say, in these housing developments by the new entrepreneur there. We needed that investment back in the city of Flint because it's money that drives other things, create job creations that you've already gone through, and to expand our imagination and to incentivize us to do better in maintaining what we got. If once we can climb back on top of the hill, be self-sufficient, and have an income that and generate products and services that we create here and sell here, then we will rise again. But until that happens, if we're just using federal dollars from projects and from gifts and stuff like that, we're not growing. We need to have a niche here and something. And what that niche ought to be, I don't know. But we got to create products and services sell to somebody else outside of our city. And I was really sorry to see General Motors move into Burton here with that new land development there. I think that has about 400 people that would be working for that company out there, and they would be building byproducts for General Motors in some capacity. But I do know that we need to focus on that, and we need to give these new people who move into the cities, we need to provide safe streets. We need to continue work on that, and I hope the mayor's listening to this. We need to provide a good education system so that we can expand those and grow much more. And as you recall, several years ago, we were talking about shrinking the boundaries of the city. You know what happens if you shrink the boundaries of the city? The tax base goes away, and we can't afford to lose any more tax base. And I think it's a great, I hope you keep us updated on what's going on in the city of Flint. And for example, and this is what Black Americans who live in the city of Flint, they need to look at what they have just come into the city of Flint. That was Hamley Brothers. We had complained for years that we didn't have a responsible, respectable grocer in the city of Flint. But Hamley came back to Flint with all of the amenities that any other business have: parking, lighted parking, available space, quality foods, and stuff like that. But already we're criticizing that for having higher prices and being outside the city and so on. So there are a lot of ways that you can criticize, but you can do that for anybody. But what did happen is that Hamleys moved back into the city of Flint and became that vision that we wanted to see. It was a respectable business, large business in the city of Flint. Now we need to go out and support that business.
All of them. We need to go
Yeah.
because they just also hired Beverly's Soul Food. So if you guys are familiar with Beverly's Soul Food, used to be on Dort and Court at the corner inside of the little area there. She is now catering, and she has a business inside of Hamleys. So they brought her inside of Hamleys. So good point, Henry. We have to support these businesses as they come, or they will go.
See, nobody complains about the stores in Clio, but they come to shop there in Clio, Swartz Creek, Grand Blanc, and yet criticize their own businesses in the city. I don't. To me, that's not a favorable thing in enabling the city to grow and provide a quality of life for our young people.
Mm-hmm.
We need to think about that. We need to have more conversations for people who are critics or who are, engaged in that kind of activity. And we need to write articles and support them. And opinion page and talk about them on shows like this and so on and so forth to incentivize our city to grow it.
And also, too, in my opinion show, we want to thank Mayor Weaver and her for her leadership and her team, and keep up the advocacy for Flint, which I know you do, and I've worked with you, and the love of this city. Okay, you're going to have your detractors, but forget about that. Everybody has them, and you just keep doing the good that you're doing, and keep bringing these businesses into Flint. And for those that are seeking jobs, hopefully that, as my co-host has mentioned, if you have a job, if you employers out there have jobs, list them, okay? So people can see what see what's available. What's that agency?
Career Alliance is the biggest one right now.
Career Alliance, and that other one, it's with the state of Michigan.
That's what they've become, the Career Line.
Okay.
Michigan Works.
Yeah, Michigan Works,
They all work together now.
in Career Alliance. Please go visit. It doesn't cost anything, okay, to get to these facilities. Go in and see what they have available and network and and shop. Shop in Flint. Okay, shop in Flint. Spend your money in Flint, Michigan. Let's see Flint become viable again. There's a lot of interesting things to do in Flint. There's the museums. There's nightlife. There's you have the Krim.
The Children's Museum, I had a chance to go to the Children's Museum maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I was just really taken back because what they do is they have sponsors that sponsor where the kids can come free. And if you haven't taken your child to the Children's Museum, please, because in this museum they have everything to put vision in your child. So they'll when you walk in, they have where you can touch everything. You can go to a grocery store, you can shop, you can put your stuff, you can cook in the kitchen. They have a kitchen, and then they have like a nice picture of how Flint used to look with the Water Street Pavilion, and you can play in there, and then you can ride on the fire trucks, and then they have another section where you can act like you work in a hospital, and this is what we're lacking. We're lacking growing vision in our children so that they can see outside of just doing the minimum things, but to dream big. So in this hospital, they can do x-rays. I mean, it was just out of sight. So please utilize these things in the city of Flint. And back to that employment situation, MTA has done above and beyond. Right now, MTA is offering, I think the pickup spot is the Career Alliance, or Michigan Works, whichever one. If you get a job in Brighton, any of the surrounding, Howell, Auburn Hills, they have transportation for a very minimum cost. So when you are looking for a job, don't sit at home and think that, because you don't have a vehicle that you're, that's the end. You have other avenues. Branch out. Call MTA, and they'll tell you everywhere they go. They have buses running all day to accommodate the need for employment, and that's great for the city of Flint, because the more that we're working, the less that we have time to do things that don't need to be on the news.
Exactly.
The more that we're working, less time we have to do things for people, that we don't need to be concentrating on. It takes away that extra.
And there's the public libraries where you can find these places of employment online.
Yep.
Okay. And you can do this for free.
Free.
I hope the audience is listening to what I just heard, because it's profound for me, and that is shop in Flint. I don't hear enough of that. I don't see it printed in the journal. I don't hear it on other radio stations. But that's the kind of obligation that people who serve the public, like this radio station here and a TV station, and like others, that's a message that the city of Flint needs to hear, because the mayor can't do it and businesses can't do it. It has to be a groundswell of interest by people who will convince other people that this is where they need to shop.
And you're hearing it first on the In My Opinion show.
Right. Shop Flint.
Shop Flint.
Shop Flint.
Spend your money in Flint.
Spend your money here and watch it grow around you. Yeah. That's what the other places that are growing, that they're supporting, and that's why they have things, because they're supporting those things, and it's big enough to bring them here. She only can bring it here. We have to make it work.
Yes.
We have to make it work.
And also, if you own property, take care of it. Keep it up. You have lots next door. Pick it up. Pick the
beautify.
There's debris. There's debris there. Beautify it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take pride.
Take pride in your neighborhood. Okay. The parks, the streets. Okay?
Make it a destination spot for other people who want to come in and shop in Flint and
Form
Go to school
form
here, et
neighborhood
cetera.
watches. We used to
Yeah.
have them as a child. Neighborhood watches are good because it keeps somebody watching, and if they know somebody's watching, less stuff happens when they
Yeah.
know you. So don't get mad at that nosy neighbor.
Yeah.
Be glad you have them.
Exactly. Tell somebody if you see something you see a law being broke. That's not snitching, but tell somebody. All right?
And let us who live here take the lead in this discussion
That's right.
and rise it to the top, float it to the top so everybody will see. And you got to remember the city of Flint, whether you live here or not, or whether you love it or not, the city of Flint is the source of industrial activity, all activity surrounding the county, etc., has its leads in Flint.
Absolutely.
It's a source of education and the source of public life, as Ron has already said. Entertainment, the Capitol Theater. You can go on and on and on and talk about the good things, the resources that are here, the inventory. All we have to do is just take a look and not mope about what was at one time and what we don't have. Let's grow it.
Exactly. Plus, also too, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Flint is the birthplace of many professional athletes. Okay,
Yes.
and then they have a museum. What is it, Thurston Fieldhouse? Of different athletes that were from Michigan. I mean, from Flint. And I would hope, and let me send this shout out to the athletes. Okay, Flint made you, more or less. Okay, through your grade school, high school, different colleges, and so forth. Think about giving something back. Okay, give something back to the town that made you who you are. And
The other day at the Lakers game, this is what I'm saying. You know, I tell people all the time, if you're going to talk about Flint, I'm not the person to talk to. Because everything negative, you know, it's negative everywhere. Regardless if you moved out of the city and you live in Texas, there's negative things there. But if you build on what you talk about. So we talking positive. So the other night at the Lakers game, there was 3 Flint professional basketball players on the court at the same time. Now, where can that happen at? Because we still are relevant. And that's what I posted on Facebook. We still are relevant. Because we had 3 basketball players from Flint at a Lakers game on the floor at the same time.
Flint rises, people. Flint rises.
Just stay tuned. Just keep watching. Look around. You know, when you see dirt being moved, that's because we're building. You know, and a lot of times in order to build correctly, we have to tear down. You have to tear down things that were and then have things that are now. Like you said, don't worry about the past. We used to do this. We're doing different stuff now. We have colleges. We have Michigan State, Saginaw Valley, Mott. We have University of Michigan, all right here in the city of Flint.
Eastern.
Baker.
Western.
Yeah, right here in the city of Flint. Right, and they're building and they're buying all type of dormitories and things like that. We've never had that before, but they're doing it now. A big hotel has just signed up. Like I said earlier, they're coming to the city of Flint. They're coming downtown.
All places of exceptional educational opportunities. So let's get busy.
In the words of TD Jakes, get ready, get ready, get ready.
One of these days we should invite Mayor Reba to come on and talk about some of the things.
Absolutely.
Because she's got the people, she won the city by a mandate. She's authoritative here. She has the right to take risk and say things that she believes.
Because we
Because
had her
the people
before
have-
she won. She came
The
to the show
people have
before.
given her that to the last vote,
That's
that
right.
recall vote. They did what many of the people had hoped that would not happen, but she just flew by and won by a mandate. So she has the authority and the right to move ahead, to take.
And one of the
move
things
city
I
ahead.
like about her is that she keeps us relevant, because I see her in Washington. I see her on MSNBC. They talk to her briefly, you know, all the time. Because MSNBC just came here. Because Michael Moore just did another show. What is it called? 9? Nope, it's the opposite. 119.
Yeah,
It's the
I know he
opposite.
was here.
Yeah, so Michael Moore just did a show, and and then so MSNBC came here. Those are big things.
Yeah, but Michael Moore's position on that issue when he came was not relevant to push Flint ahead. It more divided us, but I won't talk about that here.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah.
Because it was positive when he came because he
Yeah.
did some things.
Yeah.
So I mean, he is who he is, but
Mhm.
he did some things that I thought were pretty positive. So
Mhm.
and he does pour back into Flint with
Yes, he
the
does.
funds he gets.
Yes,
he
he does.
pour back into
He
Flint.
does.
Let's recap what you have in the next 2 minutes that we have.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have that the water fountains at the Flint schools will be replaced with a filtration system. And this is from Elon Musk, the millionaire, is donating all of these things. And then we have 3 major projects of apartments and houses being built across the city of Flint. A lot of people had the tearing down of the Y. They did a live broadcast. Well, in order for new life to come, sometimes we got to tear down some things. So we got 92 units coming. 48 will be affordable housing, and that's a $19.6 million project. On the north side, there's going to be 62 units, going to be 11 buildings, and that's $16.9 million. And then former Coolidge Elementary, they'll be called Coolidge Park Apartments, and it's going to be 54, and it's going to be for $14.7 million. And that's good news.
That's good news. Good news. A lot of jobs should become available with all of the all this excitement going on in Flint. So
Ron, there's also an opportunity for black companies to incentivize themselves. There's I-75 now, the Tuskegee Airmen's Highway, just waiting for entrepreneurs to come in and create shops. They got a forever long line of shoppers that move up and down 75 at a constant rate 7 days a week and
That's right.
365 days a year. But we need the imagination, the people to collect their money, to pool their money, to put together a financial strategy that would be matched by the government. There is something to consider.
That's good.
Yeah. We need to talk about that too. The opportunities are.
Dreaming.
Yes.
yeah, the opportunities are endless for an entrepreneur. You have to have vision, people. Okay, don't be afraid to take chances. Okay, have that vision and that energy, and get out there and let's get it done.
And the traveling public doesn't care about race. They just want you to have a shop that they can shop, enjoy a shopping experience with you, and talk about the little things that are worthwhile talking about and stuff like that. Bread and breakfast is another. Just all kind of opportunities to invest in the city of Flint or Genesee County or along 75. We need to continuously encourage that.
Absolutely, lots of opportunities. So let's take advantage of this and make it work for everybody. Flint on the rise. So take advantage of this and shop Flint, people. Flint.
Shop Flint.
Shop
Shop
Flint. All right. This has been a very wonderful and very enlightening conversation. And thank you, Jackie and Mr. Hatter.
And thanks to Mayor Weaver.
And thanks to Mayor Weaver and her team.
City Council.
City Council. So until next time, this is Ronald Barrington Robinson saying, stay focused.